Well, Europe's age of innocence came crashing down around us on the 24th of February this year. But in advance of the invasion of Ukraine by our psychopathic neighbour in the Kremlin, the Russian Navy were off the southwest coast of Ireland the previous month, in January of 2022, observing undersea cables where the most data flow between the United States of America, Europe and the UK takes place, where it is the most critical infrastructure in terms of communications, digital flow, data flow, financial transaction flow, the internet and all the connectivity of a modern world in terms of digital connectivity. So from that perspective, Commissioner, I would like to ask, how do you see this particular directive assisting the Irish government, the Irish Defence Forces and others in ensuring that we have some level of resilience, we have some level of observance as to what is happening in the vast oceans around the west coast of the European Union, and how we will put measures in place, bearing in mind not every country there is a member of a military organisation?
Mr. Vice President.
Yes, Mr. Kelleher, I have the fullest respect of the constitutional arrangements of our member states, and I'm not here to express any opinion on the neutrality status or the membership that any member states can have with international organisations, in the case of Ireland, NATO, and others. But you're raising a very important, relevant element: how all member states can be covered against these type of threats, and you give me the opportunity to reiterate that Ireland will be fully covered by this shield that we are building with the critical entities resilience network and the infrastructure and the Network Information System Directive. This would be a parallel shield, if you like, against digital and physical threats that would cover all member states, regardless of their being member or not of international security arrangements and organisations. This is the EU law that would cover all our member states. Now, on the specific incident that you mentioned, I am aware of it. I think this pertains more to the not to the security/homeland competence, which is mine in the Commission, but both on the defence side. But in case that this threat would materialise against critical infrastructure of Ireland in its territorial waters, the CER directive would fully cover it. And even if there was an extraterritoriality element to it, I was telling earlier your colleagues that with our Council recommendation today, we leave open the issue of territoriality coverage, so to be able even to go beyond in cases like that.
Mr. Kelleher.
On the 14th of May 2021, there was a devastating cyber attack on the Irish healthcare system, on the HSE. It ground it to a halt and cost lives in loss of data, loss of information, cancellation of appointments for people. So from that perspective, I just urge the Commission, knowing fully that they are very conscious of the threats in terms of cybersecurity, that this will be put front and centre as well as to the physical elements with regard to the digital concerns that are out there. Nice, Dora and the many other areas that this Parliament has debated must be a critical part of any measures we put in place to address cyber attacks, both physical and digital.
Danke, Herr Kommissar.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I fully agree with the honourable member that, first of all, we are, of course, very well aware of the attack against the Irish health system, and this is also the type of attack which is now becoming very common for a very simple reason, that the attackers prefer our health systems, attacks against our health systems, hospitals, because these are places that hold a huge amount of data. And this is gold for them. So we have seen recently a shift from the traditional attacks against financial institutions, banks, towards national health systems, hospitals, and so on and so forth. So yes, we're fully aware that we have to prioritize under our shield of NIS2 and related instruments the attacks against health systems. This is an area which is particularly sensitive in our coverage. This is an area that is even more important because you would have seen that a few months ago we have proposed for the first time ever, and I think it's also a world first, a new initiative for an EU health data space that would give access to citizens and researchers to our health data potential that would facilitate research, but also mobility in the internal market, of course, under the full protection of GDPR and privacy laws. But to get it right in the area of health data is one of the most important priorities of our cybersecurity strategy, let me assure you.
Danke, Herr Vizepräsident.
Thank you, Vice President. Next question comes from Ms. Bonfrisco.